Well, Budmo, as you might be aware by now, is the online expert in terms of spare parts. If you want a spare part for your vehicle, they have it in their list. They have the most extensive spare parts catalog, right from the most affordable small car to the top of the line luxury car, you name the car, and they have the spare parts for it. And the best point is that they have the spare parts from a host of different component makers and different price segments for the same spare part. So if you want to buy a cheaper part from a different maker or a more expensive part from a different component maker, they have the option for you. And they also promise you 10 days assured return without any hassles. If you don't like the spare part, you can send it back and they'll return all the money to you in the first 10 days. So budmo.com is the name of the website. You can check them out on your iOS as well as Android devices as well. And they really are the experts when it comes to spare parts. Well, so I'm inside the cabin of the Aura now, and compared to the Amaze, this car's cabin looks very nice and funky. The Amaze is all black and a little bit of beige, but this one has a little bit of grey, a little bit of black, a little bit of this color bronze, and a little bit of this off-white. So it feels very modern, very, very funky, and it has that essential feel-good factor that Hyundai cars are known for. You also get wireless charging for your mobile phone, which is a very nice and nifty touch. And the glove box is also cooled, which means that if you're on a long distance journey, then you will easily find cold water inside the car. You won't have to stop at those local restaurants and buy those cold cans of Diet Coke. And of course, you keep a couple of beverages over here. Of course, a small bottle of Coke and a big bottle, 1 liter bottle from your home, can easily be adjusted in the door bins over here. So overall, it's a nice place to be. The cabin is nice. The quality is definitely half a step ahead of the Amaze. And the front end of the car, I will definitely give the better score to the Hyundai Aura. Hyundai has done a fantastic job with the cabin and deserves all the accolades for the front end. Double thumbs up from my side. One area where I will definitely do some nitpicking is the seats. Now the seats in themselves have got nice fabric and they're quite decent, but the cushioning could have been better, especially the support for the low back could have been a little more firmer. And for long distance journeys, these are seats which could have just got a little more padding on them. Other than that, an excellent place to be and definitely half a step ahead of the Amaze. Well, so here I'm inside the Amaze's cabin. Now in terms of the quality between both these cars is neck and neck. You can't really pick and choose which one is better. The quality over here on top of the dashboard, on top of the door panel is almost similar. In terms of the design, I think it's a very conservative design. Honda could have been a little more exciting in the design. It's quite okay, but could have been a little more exciting. Touchscreen also, it's decent to operate, but doesn't have that same kind of funkiness or ease of usage as the one on the Hyundai Aura does. In terms of features, both these cars are neck and neck. Yes, this car doesn't have the same connected apps that the Aura comes with, but even then, it gets Apple CarPlay and Auto, as well as a host of other things which are there on that car as well. In terms of overall utility places, both these cars are again neck and neck, but one area where this car is ahead, the Amaze is ahead, is in seat comfort. The seats have got better padding, better cushioning, and on longer journeys, you'll be better in the seats on the Amaze because the support for the low back is also better than it is inside the Aura. So who wins the battle of the front seats? I think it's a tie between both these cars because in terms of comfort, this one is ahead, but in terms of the overall design, the Aura has a slight advantage. So I think it's a tie. Now let's jump in the back seat and see which car has the edge. Well, so talking about the comparison with the Honda Amaze, the first thing that you'll truly appreciate about this car is that the overall cushioning and the seats and the backrest angle is quite nice. And it's comparable with the Amaze. It's nothing that is behind or ahead. Both these cars are pretty identical. In terms of space also, very nearly identical in terms of the overall legroom. The advantage that this car of course has is that you get AC vents at the back, which the Amaze does not offer, even as an option. In one of my earlier videos, I did by mistake mention that it does come with AC vents, but it doesn't. And you also get a 12-volt charging point, which is a big boon for people who are always on their tablet and mobile devices. The windows go all the way down, and you can easily put your hand like this and enjoy the breeze from the outside. So overall, who wins the battle of the backseat? Well, I think it's a tie because in terms of space, practicality and comfort, both these cars are really neck and neck. But of course, the only advantage this car has is the AC vents at the back. Well, here I'm in the back seat of the Honda Amaze now, and in terms of the overall space here, there's good amount of space. The cushioning is excellent, especially for my under thighs. The backrest angle is spot on. The only negative is that the headrests here are fixed, and also there's no AC vent, so that's a bit of a negative on the brochures. If you take the brochures of both these cars and see them side to side, that might be something that you might not be too happy about. But in terms of space, in terms of practicality, in terms of overall usage, it's I think ahead of the Hyundai Aura. Also, it feels much more wide at the back, so you can easily squeeze in 3 people over here and you won't have to jostle for space of your arms or shoulder space. So in that sense, it's a better car.
I think this is the best car in this segment for sheer backseat comfort. If you are someone who enjoys the backseat experience and just wants to sit in the backseat all day long, then this is by far the best car in this segment. So it's quite clear that the battle of the backseat is won by the Honda Amaze. It is by far the best car in this segment for sheer space and comfort in the back.
Well guys, so if you're planning to buy the Hyundai Aura, you can choose from 3 engine options. Yes, there's a long list of engine options to choose from. So you can choose the petrol, which is 1.2, you can choose the diesel, which is again a 1.2, but you can also choose a 1-litre turbocharged engine, and that is the engine to go for if you are someone who calls himself a clean driver. It's a very good engine in terms of power delivery, in terms of performance, in terms of responsiveness, as well as in terms of overall driving pleasure. So these are 3 engines you can choose. Now whichever engine you choose, whichever engine you decide to go for, the overall suspension setting on all these cars is very nice and very soft and very supple. So it's a car which really does soak in the bumps very well. In fact, I think the balance between ride and handling is very good on the Aura. It's not a car which will take out on the track. In fact, no mid-size or compact sedan is a car which can go out on a racetrack or can be driven hard up the hills, on those bends. But that said, it's got the right amount of balance between the overall ride comfort as well as overall agility. And the steering wheel also is quite nice. It's not the most direct or the most communicative steering wheel in this segment, but it's a steering wheel which offers you very limited weight in it. It's a very light steering wheel, which means that on a long day behind the steering wheel, you will not feel tired. And I think it's the ideal steering wheel for someone who just wants to go from point A to point B. If you are someone who travels from his office to his home on a daily basis and wants a car which doesn't tire him out, a very hassle-free car, then the Aura is the car to go for, again, irrespective of what engine option you choose and whichever engine or gearbox option you decide to choose. That's the steering and the ride quality. Now overall, the visibility is something which is very good on this car. You get nice and chunky rear view mirrors, so you can look really far behind. The mirror way is big, and the glass area also nice and big, so you can easily look around this car and know where your car is. The seats are also high set, so you can get a good view of the road ahead, and you can see at a long distance. That is never an issue. And what you'll also like about the Hyundai Aura is the fact that the engines, all of them, are very quiet. Now if you decide to buy the diesel version of the car compared to the Honda Amaze, then the version is definitely a lot more quieter. The Aura is definitely a lot more quieter inside the cabin, so you'll appreciate that. And it doesn't get loud even when you rev this engine hard, unlike the one on the Amaze, which is typically a noisy unit and has been for a while. So that is a big advantage. Yes, it's not as powerful as the one on the Amaze, so that is something that you will need to take in mind. And you will of course have to change the gears quite a lot on the diesel version to get in the right power band compared to the Honda Amaze, that's for sure. But then again, if you are someone who drives a lot in the city and takes his car on the highway occasionally, then this engine should be quite okay. The gearbox also is nice and sporty to operate. It's got very short throw, so that's something where this car truly impresses. So if you drive in the city, then this diesel engine is quite okay for you. And to be honest, you have to balance it out. Do you want an engine which is more powerful but a little more noisy, or do you want an engine which is less powerful but more quiet and more refined? So these are things which you need to balance out and decide for yourself and be the judge on that. Now in terms of the driving pleasure, both these cars are neck and neck because both of them have very light steering wheels. The grip level on tires is decent, and the overall ride suspension setting is also very similar. So there's not much you can choose in terms of the ride and handling balance of the car. Both these cars are on the side of overall ride comfort, so there is one department where you can't really choose too much. But if you are of course looking for a petrol car, then I would suggest that you forget everything else out there in the market and just simply go ahead and book the turbocharged version of this car. The 1-litre turbo unit is a fantastic car to drive. It's great for driving thrills, it's great for putting a smile on your face, and you will simply be beaming from ear to ear when you drive that car. So full marks to the Aura Turbo, and that's the best car in this segment.
Well, so here I am driving the Honda Amaze. Now this car comes with a 1.2 petrol and there's a 1.5 diesel, and the 1.2 petrol is a 4-cylinder unit. There's no turbocharged engine like the one that you get on the Aura, but these two engines are more than sufficient because the 1.5 makes 100 bhp. It's much more powerful than the Aura's engine, and it's also got good fuel efficiency. We've been getting figures in excess of 21-22 kpl on a regular basis from this car is our part of a long-term fleet. So in terms of fuel efficiency also, it's quite a good car. Now, a lot of buyers will appreciate the fact that the Amaze has a nice and crisp steering wheel. The steering wheel on this car, no matter which engine you choose, is definitely a very communicative one, and it's ahead of the very soft steering wheel on the Hyundai. Or in terms of the overall ride comfort, it's really neck and neck between both these cars. I think that this car has a slightly stiffer edge to its suspension, which means that on the highway you'll feel slightly a little more reassuring than you will inside the softly set up suspension of the Hyundai Aura. But it really is a very small margin. It's all relative, so the margin of difference is very little. Now, both these cars can't truly be called driver's cars, and any car in the compact sedan segment isn't really an ideal driver's car. But that said, there's a little bit of fun to be had from the Amaze, because the steering wheel offers you better responses. The steering wheel is a little more communicative. The chassis balance is slightly better, and the suspension setup has a slightly firmer side to it. So yes, this one feels like a keener driver's car, but to be honest, it's really neck and neck between both these cars. Now, one area where Honda can improve this car is in the refinement of the diesel engine. The diesel engine feels a little stressed out on the highway in terms of the noise it makes. It doesn't feel stressed out in terms of the drivability, but yes, in the noise it makes, it can become a little buzzy and a little boomy compared to the Aura. And isolation is quite okay, but yes, since we are comparing both these cars, the diesel engine, this one does become a little noisy. The petrol engine is an iVTEC motor. Performance is more than sufficient, it's more than adequate, and it's also decent in terms of fuel efficiency. A lot of car owners that we speak to tell us that it delivers about 12 to 13 kph on a very regular basis inside the city, so it's at par for the segment. In terms of visibility, it's really neck and neck, and in terms of overall ride comfort, as I said, for the city it's really neck and neck between both these cars, but on the highway the Amaze just has a slight advantage over the Hyundai Aura. Overall, who wins the battle of the driving bits? Well, I think even though this car doesn't have that 1 liter turbocharged engine that car offers, even then, if you are someone who calls himself a keen driver and you want a diesel car which offers you good driving thrills as well as good fuel efficiency, then the diesel version of the Amaze definitely holds a clear advantage over diesel version of the Hyundai Aura. Well, so the winner of today's comparison is the Honda Amaze. This car offers you the more powerful diesel engine. The 1.2 petrol also is quite refined. The boot is really nice and big, and the backseat experience is the best in this segment. What's more, being a Honda means the resale values will be very strong, and the desirability of the Amaze will also be strong after 5 or 6 years. So the winner of today's comparison is the Honda Amaze for sure. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.